This meeting is being live streamed. Yes, it is. There it is. We're on. I'm going to hide this so I'm not watching myself on YouTube. That would be weird.
Are we live?
We are live. Yeah. So let's kick it off. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our first time out, maiden voyage for a Reckless Deck live stream, which I'm hoping is going to be a recurring series on Tuesday nights. And with this series, the goal is going to be to have a different guest every week. And in it, we're going to use the PSYCHE card deck system to create a character and a story around them right here in real time. The guest that we have this week, which I'm so lucky to be able to say, he who decided to join us for this one is my old friend and Marvel and DC Comics artist, Khoi Pham. Khoi, say hello to
everybody.
The screaming millions.
Yeah, right. But real pleasure to be here. Clark and I go way back, and super excited.
So we were just talking about the fact that he's done several of these kinds of streaming events. This is my first streaming event. It's a little horrifying, I got to be honest. I mean, I feel like getting the tech to work for most people probably is like not a big deal. For me, I found it all very, very stressful. And I think that the setup that I have here is acceptable. It's not bad, but in terms of like what is possible with, streaming in terms of tech and flashy, this is going to look probably like it was done by two Amish dudes.
Yeah. It's
right?
It's charming.
It's
charming.
And we'll be able to look back on it like in the future when we have like a disco ball and like backup dancers,
right.
a t-shirt cannon that we'll be able to be like, oh, remember that charming video that we started with?
Yeah, the VHS quality.
This is our VHS launch. So for those of you who don't know what PSYCHE is all about, I created the original Reckless Deck to make characters based on their look. And Reckless Deck is an idea generator and a prompt series that gives you lots of iconic visual callouts about making your character based on how they look, with a very heavy emphasis on genre mashup. So you get a lot of things that don't belong together, a lot of things that are not normally seen hanging out together in the same story or the same movie or the same comic book or whatever. And the tension between those things is for me where the magic happens in terms of forcing new ideas and new ways of looking at those things and having to turn it around in your mind to make something fresh and new out of it, to make these weird things actually come together. PSYCHE, on the other hand, goes in the opposite direction and creates characters based on their mind. So it tells you what they want. How did they get to be the way that they are? What secrets are they keeping? What happened to them in their past? What is happening to them now in their present? It's a much more narrative deck. It's really great for anybody who wants to write literally anything, whether it's a screenplay, a novel, a graphic novel. It's great if you do any kind of narrative work, right? Like comics. Khoi, you've done a comic book or two in your life?
Yeah, a couple.
Just like, well, you're up to like 5 now, right?
Yeah.
Keep going. Good job.
I can't. Yeah, I stopped counting. After 3, I lose count.
So PSYCHE is great for doing anything narrative, and that includes role-playing games. It's a great tool for to really like add a lot of zhuzh to your game night, especially if you want to get something really interesting and new really fast. And that's what we're going to do today. But before we go into character creation mode, this is so Vincent Price. You're right. It is like it's like Shadow Puppet Land. It is what it is. Like, it's charming, right? It's charming. I want to know.
It's not AI. That's almost like a.
That's so not AI.
It's about as analog as you can get.
Right. Before we dive into character creation, I would like to know from you, what are you working on now? What have you got on your docket that you are excited about?
Oh man, so many things. Not everything I can talk about,
Sure.
but the
Yeah.
ones I think I can talk about. I work for Marvel, DC. Not so much lately. I do interiors. I've pretty much stopped doing interiors for a while because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Um, Having said that, there's a project I am doing, but I do covers for Marvel and DC here and there. That's always fun. I have a I have 8 issues worth of an independent book that I and a friend are doing. Lucas Lumbin is the writer, up and coming writer. Great story. We have 8 issues in the can. We're going through Comics Experience Publishing. So this is my first time crowdfunding. So we're
Oh,
gonna
wow.
look into
Okay.
that. But the idea is we're gonna. It's called Absolved, and that's a really neat story. Really fun to draw. It's basically like an homage to action movies and TV shows, and it's an assassin battle royale. So I get to draw all kinds of characters. So because it's an homage, it's really fun to introduce and then kill off characters that
Oh, wow.
you're like, oh, that is like that's a Chuck Norris character. That's that character, and it's a lot of fun to draw. It's really fun story, very kinetic. So yeah, you're gonna get the idea is to get all 8 all at once. I don't know how fat it is but whatever it is, you're
Okay.
getting it. So
Is each
it's
issue
now
like a full, what's the standard
yeah
comic page count? Like 20
yeah
something?
yeah yeah. So it's I think it's like 22, 20 something like that, but
Right.
times 8. So that but yeah, Lucas is contacting. I can't drop names yet, but people to do the covers. So
Okay, cool.
that's gonna be a big thing. It's been a few years in the making, but we want to do it. We want to do it right. So we're really excited about that.
Right on.
So in addition to that,
Now, can I ask you
yeah,
before you move on? You've talked a lot in the past about wanting to do like a creator owned thing. Is this one of those? Do you actually have an ownership of this?
yeah, kind of. It's Lucas's story, but it's it's collaborative. So it's really nice to partner with somebody who
Yeah.
so when we talk, it's like, oh, I know that movie. I know this. I know what you're talking about, right? So it flows really well. So it is Lucas's story, but the collaborative effort, like minds, it's a lot of fun.
Mhm. And are
So
you doing the actual concept art for like the character design also?
yes,
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing.
So
Wow.
all the visuals are me. So that's it's been a lot of fun. So I mean, it's been a lot of years, so it's great to get it out there soon. That's the idea. And before that, I did duo for DC with Greg Pak, and there was a lot of character creation in there too. So for me to do a book these days, it has to meet certain requirements, right? So but that was another example of we did that 6 years before we finished the 6 issues. We finished 5.5 issues. I think it was like 5 years, and then they put a timeout on it. Then we finished the last book last year, so that one took forever to get out. So I'm used to waiting on projects. So
Okay.
that's
Sure.
what that is. But in addition to that, my wife and I, Heather, she's a therapist. We do mentoring. So I do
I
a
was
lot of
going to ask you
mentoring
about the
for
mentoring. Yeah, that's
artists.
great.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have,
that's been very fulfilling. That's a lot of fun because when I came in, when I broke in, so many artists, and they still are very supportive of that environment, looking to help each other out, right? And when you come into a business like what we do, art, it's you're on your own, right? And it'd be nice if there were more mentors and coaches out there to sort of help people understand not just the art of it. I mean, that's a part, but we're running a business here, right? We're
yeah.
trying to make money. We're trying to do a lot of things aside from just the art itself,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of support out there.
It's the professional part of being a professional artist.
Absolutely, but not just the professional part. It's the art part too, which is when I say that, especially in comic books, a lot of people come and they don't have much to say themselves, right? We're trained to think, I want to draw Batman, I want to draw Spider-Man. I want to draw other people's
Totally.
stories,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. So not only is it just the business side, but it's also like I find that it's important to talk to artists about being artists, right? So the conversation is, well, teach me how to draw Batman, but why? You know, like
Yeah.
why? Like, who's your audience? Even if it is Batman, even if it is through another project, like the ones I've been with Lucas's project, right? Even if it's all, I still have an audience I want to connect to, and I want to speak to. It may be through somebody else's characters. Like you act, you're an actor.
Mhm.
So you know how it goes. So even if it's somebody else's character, you still have to bring you into it, and you still have to find who your audience is that you want to connect with. So a lot of the conversation is business, but it's also like, hey, what do you stand for? What are your core values? What do you want to say? All right, and that. So when people ask, I want to find my style. Can you show me how to draw? Like, well, I don't. It all depends on who you're saying it to, right? And it all depends on what you're saying. So there, a lot of the mentoring and coaching is along those lines. And then once we figure that out, then it's like, well, because if you're talking to a gothic teen, then this style will allow you to connect better. These choices will allow you to connect better.
Okay.
Right. So if your audience is like a 5-year-old kid, then they're different. So I don't know how somebody can know how to draw without knowing, for whom they're drawing and what they're saying. Anyway, I could go on forever with that
No,
stuff, but
that's
that's the mentoring stuff that we do.
I definitely identify with the helping people understand that their ideas are just as valid, and worthy of exploring as Batman is. Like Batman
Yeah.
is, he's amazing because he's had 80 years to be amazing, and he's basically
Yeah.
been like worked over by the best minds in several industries.
Yeah.
So he is polished to the point where he is shiny. Every idea that you or I or anybody comes up with is going to be pretty janky at first. It's going to be really wonky, and it's going to feel weird, and it's not going to feel legitimate because it just happened. It just came out, and there's no way that when you measure that against Batman, that it's ever going to feel as weighty and as desirable and as attractive. Like, who wants to work on this weird misshapen thing?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
really is about like sticking with the misshapen thing and making it into something special.
Yeah. So we can go on forever about this stuff, but even our own creation, right? It isn't brand new, right? Unless you were just born today. We have an experience with so I don't want to hijack this, but
No, I wanted to do this part. This is okay.
So I think I'm gonna hijack it, but it's like we art is communicating, right? And it's in lieu of conversation. Do you know what I mean? So we've been having conversations our whole lives. Art is just another way to have that conversation to a wider audience. So what we say doesn't necessarily have to be new. I mean, the ability, the craft of it, yes, but what I challenge artists to do, what I work with them to do, is to, hey, you've been talking your whole life, or you've been too shy to talk, but you know what you want to say. So that's not a fresh idea. It's there. So let's figure out. Let's find the confidence. And sometimes it's a technique that builds confidence. Sometimes it's just trial and error. I mean, failing is a huge part of it. So that's the conversation. We most of us already have lived a life. We know we kind of know what we want to say. We've been talking our whole lives. We've been having these conversations and connecting with people. So the art is just an extension of that, right? Art, graphic art, music, they're all extensions of this conversation we have with people. So I don't know. And it's always fun. So it's like meeting new people. When I look at a piece of art, I want like music, right? I want to hear the musician, even if it's the same blues bar progression, right? I want to hear, wait a minute, this is a different voice. This is a different experience that's coming through all of this, right? So to me, that's what I look for. That's what I love. That's what I encourage people to do. So even with Batman or Spider-Man, so I pick both companies, but even with even with that,
because they're watching, that
they are. They're watching,
done,
right?
for sure.
Right? But even with that, right? We it's like, again, it's the conversations that we have as fans of Batman, as Spider-Man, right? In our own experiences that we can put into it and continue our conversation. So it's like, so if you're a musician, right, you're playing guitar and you're just gonna improv with an existing band, you can still, it's still your guitar, it's still you playing the guitar. You can still say something within the structure, right? So which is really about the reckless deck stuff. And I mean, to the audience, I mean, yes, full disclosure, we're friends, but when you came up with the reckless deck, and this is not a pitch, I swear, this is just how it was. So this is the reason why I was so like hell yeah, I'll do this podcast. But when you told me you were doing this, it's awesome, right? Because sometimes we have these things to say, and sometimes we don't know where to start. So something like this, giving you a prompt is a great way to say, like you're jumping in a conversation and someone's saying, hey, today I went to the beach. Well, you know what? Well, I went to the beach too, or whatever. It's probably the most boring conversation you could have. But right, but stuff like that. So but yeah. So that's what I enjoy, and that's what that's what I try to put out there and encourage more of. Let's get artists to connect and have these conversations with everybody.
I mean, I can't imagine a better segue into actually starting the process of making this character and this story. So I say let's just start if that's cool with you.
Let's do it.
The thing with Psyche, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is it has 8 categories, and 4 of them apply to any kind of character, regardless of the genre or the time period or the style. The other 4 are very genre specific, and you'll see how that plays out as we start to make this character happen. Khoi made a special request to, even though he is a comic book expert, to do a fantasy character, which I thought was really, really cool and interesting. So we've got, I've got prompts set up ahead of time that Khoi has not seen, that I've made like a little tiny hand of each of the 8 categories for him to choose from, and we're going to go through those, and we're going to see then how the different choices that he makes start to weave themselves together. So I'm going to start. There's lots of ways to approach this. There's no one way to do it. I tend to enjoy starting with the occupation. For some reason, it just helps me sort of see what kind of a person we're dealing with right away. But there's by no means does it have to be that way. And this is when I'm going to start my other technological marvel of my setup here, and switch over to this view right here. What you're looking at here is a piece by Vanessa Lemon, an artist that I asked to be part of the Psyche project, and she did this gorgeous painting, which she titled Psyche. And this is a playmat of her work, which I'm using as a surface for us to choose our cards. All right, Khoi, we're going to start with occupations, and your options are demonologist, a sorcerer, a ranger, a blacksmith, or a paladin.
So what's a demonologist? You have to go to
school. I don't know. I don't really know. It would be someone who studies demons, someone who's like really skilled and knowledgeable about demons. That's all I can tell you.
And what are the sorcerer?
Yep, demonologist, sorcerer, ranger, a blacksmith, and then the last one is paladin.
Oh man, let's do demonologist. I'm really hung up on that one right now.
All right.
We're talking about PhD in demons.
Sure. Yes, I'm going to put that on our whiteboard. All right. And then I'm going to say we're going to talk about what their motivation is. What's their main want? Okay. What's the thing that drives them through their story? Is it to achieve a sense of state safety? Is it to prove their detractors wrong? Is it to claim what is owed? Or is it to repay a debt?
All right. So let's see. Achieve a sense of safety.
prove their detractors wrong, claim what is owed, or repay a debt.
I feel like I'm on what's that? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I have to like
Yeah.
talk through each option.
That's you can do that, except that there's no $1 million. That's the only.
Yeah. You have some lifelines. I can make a phone call.
Just shout down the hall.
Yeah. You can be. Yeah. All right, Regis. Let me see. To repay a debt.
Trying to get rid of that glare.
That one's interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah, repay a debt.
So this is the motivation to this is a driver for the journey, right? We're talking about the story arc. So this is the thing. Things are just chill. Things are the way they've always been, and then boom, driver pushes them to act 2, right? So achieve a sense of safety. That's interesting. To prove detractors wrong. That does not. That's interesting. So these choices. It's like a Rorschach test, right? Like, depending what I choose, I'm great. People are seeing my psyche here, so
that was just really.
So yeah. It's a curve. It's more. I feel like I'm in therapy now. All right, so let's go with to repay a debt.
Okay.
A demonologist looking to repay a debt. I think I'm giving away too much about my life already.
All right. The next one is category is strengths. What is a quality that they have that serves them very well and helps them move through their life successfully? They could be just. They could be insightful. They can be charismatic or idealistic.
Let's see. None of those things are me. So let's go with who's the other host of What's a Million? There was Regis. There was the woman from The View. What was it? Does anybody know?
Was it Jane Lynch?
No, it might have been. I don't know. I don't know all the iterations. The name's like on tip of my tongue. Anyway, so
wasn't Howie Mandel on that show too?
Howie Mandel was the one with the box, and they opened up the Press Your Luck. Is that right? No, that's a different show. That's Whammy No Whammy. Anyway, so I'm sure someone will let us know. All right, so here we go. No lifelines. Let's go with let's see. Just is so I've never done this before, so this is interesting, Clark. This is because I've only used the art prompt. So this is the internal, the psychological makeup, which is very interesting. I was expecting like carries a laser sword, but this is interesting. So let's go with so just is a little too straightforward. Idealistic is possible. Insightful, charismatic. So of these 4 you pulled, let's go with idealistic.
Okay.
I see idealism as realism, maybe, but sure, we'll call it idealistic.
And this shouldn't be too hard to guess. The next category is flaws, which would be something about their makeup or their personality that tends to sabotage them or hang them up or actually detract from their success.
Like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah, superstitious. Speaking of Greek tragedy, hubristic, which means that even though many have failed beforehand, they believe they will succeed. Capricious. Or
now I feel like I'm studying for the SAT.
Or impatient. That's why I have definitions there for you, so you can study at the same time.
Yeah, right. So impatient is to capricious as. Anyway, do they still do those? I mean, it's been ages. I'm asking the wrong person, probably. But let's see. Impatient, superstitious. let's go. So my experience, I can get a little anxious at times. So it's like writing what you know, right? So I want my characters sort of like relate to people, and we can all share this common experience. So let's go with impatient.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's the closest I can go to.
I would imagine
anxious.
demonology would be a fairly exact science. So I love the idea
Right?
of an impatient demonologist. That could be bad.
Yeah, right. Like his parents made him do it. You're gonna go to
And
school
now,
for demons. That's it. Oh, there's more?
oh yeah, well, there's tons more. 8 categories. That's only 3
Yeah.
or 4.
Right.
That's 4. The next one is called given circumstances, and it is some characteristic of their condition, whether it's about their societal situation, their physical situation, their emotional health or well-being. So 1, they experience migraines. 2 is really interesting, and I had to look this up, hyperthymesia, which means that they have like a completely like a super developed sense of being able to remember their own life and their own life experiences. So the things that happen, they remember, like the texture and the color and the smells and the sounds and the emotional quality of everything.
What I understand. So I understand is we don't really remember things. We just remember the last time we remembered it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm curious how that works for this.
So it's like a JPEG. You're always like, but you're backing up a copy of a copy all the time.
Exactly. So that's how our memory works. We don't actually remember the original thing itself. We just remember it so many times that we remember the recent. So we're overwriting it, and depending on the quality. Again, I'm no doctor. I'm a demonologist. I don't know any of that stuff.
So 2 more: lost one or both parents at a young age, and hemophobic.
Oh, yeah, that could have been something else. It's a
fear of blood. Oh, that card's in here too. We just didn't.
Yeah, right. Okay, so fear of blood. Okay, lost one of your or both parents at a young age. So were the parents at a young age? I'm joking. Our experiences, migraines. Well, that one's pretty relatable to a lot of people, huh? Let's see. These are interesting choices. Fear of blood. So what are these? What are these categories now?
Given circumstances. This is one of those core categories that applies to any kind of character, whether it's, no matter what the style or the time period or the genre. And this is some aspect of their condition, something about their situation or their circumstance. And it could be helpful, it could be a detractor, or it could be kind of just a neutral value.
So for this this thing we're doing, is this a PG-13? Is it R-rated?
It can be. I think that yeah, it's it's after dark. After dark.
I'll keep it clean. So this demonologist is going to a situation, right? And things are pretty crappy.
Okay.
And let's see. And then the headaches come in. It adds an extra dimension, an extra adversary.
I would imagine we will find a way to connect the migraines to the demonology. I don't think that they are mutually exclusive, I would imagine. And part of what the process that we're going to do once we have all our cards is going to be to weave these things together. So I bet that we're going to find a way to make the migraines relate to the demons, or the fighting of the demons, or the encountering of the demons.
Yeah. So the parents one is Batman. So
yeah, that's right. Okay, sure.
We'll leave that one. Fear of blood is interesting, but you know what? I'm gonna go with this crazy one. This my word of the day: hyperthymesia.
Okay. Which means he remembers his own life experiences very, very colorfully and accurately.
Yeah. Right. And this character just actuates everybody to death.
He does what?
Well, actually, so it turns that into a verb. Is that a thing? Well, actually. Anyway.
Right. The last three categories are very, very narrative driven. They're really going to tell us a lot about the actual, not just the character, but the story of the character. This category is called formative event, which is an event in their life that had an outsized influence on who they have become in the present. Freed an entity from magical bondage who turned out to be not at all what they claimed. Their twin was kidnapped at birth and raised to be their mortal enemy. Apprenticed under a legendary master, whom they broke from because they felt that their master was becoming corrupted. Or a raucous night out in a disreputable district of the city turned unforgettably towards the dangerous and macabre.
Okay, I gotta ask, how did you come up with these things? Like,
just, you know, they're fun to do. Once I would really just get in a zone of one particular genre and then just think about all the stories from that genre that I had seen before. A lot of it was, you know, trying to pay direct homage to the stuff you expect to see in that genre. And then the other half of it is about like turning that or twisting it on its head so that you get very unexpected things from that genre. And it's not as hard as you think, because really you're just trying to come up with a snippet of a story, a facet of a story, instead of the whole story.
Okay, yeah. So this is the you know, important life event.
Right, something that
character
really shaped them in their present day.
Yeah. So this is cool. This is what we all have, these important life events in our own lives. So it's neat to you know, incorporate it into the stories. Let's see. We've got the soap opera one, twin kidnapped at birth, raised.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a little soap opera. Yeah, I didn't put that together, but yeah, a little romance novel-y. I'm comfortable with it though.
There's that. Let's see. Freed an entity from magical bondage who turned into not at all. Okay, I can see a demonologist doing that. So that's kind of zag a bit. Apprenticed under a legendary master who that's a human story. I like the human stories inside of things. So I think that's in the lead right now. Let's see. Raucous night out. Not my gig.
Okay. All right. So it's the master.
Let's do that.
Okay. Corrupted master.
I love the sound of the marker on the board. Nobody sees what you're writing.
I know, it'll be there. Trust me. All right. So the next category is very juicy. It is secrets, something that the character is keeping to themselves. This one is manifesting disturbing necromancy powers, giving them the ability to make and control constructs from necrotic bone and tissue.
Cool.
That one's a little superhero. I feel like that's sort of like
could be, or an animator, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little Magneto, a little Green Lantern. I feel like but gross.
Oh right. Your nerd colors are showing.
I wasn't really. This is the wrong place to try to hide them. Trust me.
Right.
Was meek and incompetent until they made a pact with an evil wizard who made them powerful and skilled. He used to be the top lieutenant of a brutal warlord, but has tried to escape that life. And a gold dragon burned a map onto their back, showing the location of a precious dragon treasure.
That's very Iron Fist kind of. Let's see. All right, let's see. Manifesting disturbing necromancy powers. That one's interesting, but again, I'm going for the human interactions. That's what I like. So meek and incompetent, interesting. So that's top lieutenant. I think But let's go with disturbing necromancy powers.
Fun. Okay.
Let's do that. So yeah, this is being married to a therapist. This is like what is that? What is that a metaphor for? You know, what mental illness is rearing its head? That's how I see it.
So you like to play with dead things? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Or disturbing realizations about yourself.
Okay, one last category, and this one is called inciting incident. This is the event. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road. This is the event that is kind of just happening to our character that sets them on the journey of their story. This is the thing that changes their circumstance and puts them into action. First up, while battling a vampire lord, they learn that they are the heir to the throne of an ancient undead lineage. Number 2, finds a desecrated dying angel who quests them with stopping their killer from using the divine power they stole. And that one's got a very film noir vibe to me, fantasy film noir, like finding a victim on the brink of death who sends you on this quest almost. Has been entrusted to transport precious cargo to a distant keep, which turns out to be the illegitimate daughter of the king. Little palace intrigue for you there. And this one is hired to join a team of other adventurers, none of whom they know, to retrieve a magical artifact from a crypt.
So yeah, there's the journey story, all right, the quest. Let's go. Let's see the couple quest ones. All right.
Yep, you got some palace intrigue. You've got what is essentially a heist. This retrieving an artifact has a little bit of a heist vibe to it. The vampire lord one is a little bit I'm your father. It's got a little bit of that you're not the hero, you are part of the evil family.
So the dying, this is I guess this is a semantics question if I'm even using that word right. Dying. So is it literally, if you describe something, I'm just curious how you think. If something is described as dying, does that mean it has to see itself to the death? Or can something dying ultimately not die?
Yeah, no, I would say something dying can ultimately not die. All right. For sure. If you can get it to Dr. Crusher in the medical bay, absolutely. She'll fix that guy right up.
Right.
But I would say that there's lots of there in this part, in this, what you're describing is it gonna die? Can it be saved? Is it just gonna transform into some?
Yeah, you described it as victim, but maybe it's not. Let's go with that one.
Okay, yeah, dying angel, got it. I also think that there's some real zhuzh to the idea of this demonologist interacting with an angel in this way.
Yeah. A lot of conflict. Internal, external conflict.
I'm going to flip back to me. Hello, everyone. I've missed you so. And now you can see what I've been writing on the board. So now we know all the things that we're going to get from our cards. We know we've got a demonologist who's trying to repay a debt way back when we made that choice. They're idealistic, but they're impatient. Hyperthymesia, right? They remember the events in their life extremely clearly and vividly. They left a corrupted master. They were studying under a master, and they left them because they feared corruption. Now they're showing necromancy powers of some kind, being able to actually make constructs out of blood and tissue and bone. That's so gross. Oh my God. And they encounter a dying angel who says, find the person that did this to me and don't let them use my angel powers for their own purposes.
Yeah. This sounds like feel like I wish there were a bunch of people sitting around a table with some drinks and just hashing out this story. But
Yes,
there's
and
a lot of stuff here.
that's what we do now, is now we put it all together. Here's the interesting thing that when I made this deck is I made this, you know, as an actor, really, and as a storyteller to make characters. But I found also that there was so much information in the cards about the surrounding circumstances and story that it actually became a really great tool for story as well. So not only do you have, hopefully at the end of this, we'll have a really compelling character, but we'll see the structure and the kind of almost like the armature of the story that you could then go and write. This is yours, by the way. Whatever we come up with here is for you to go and make something out of if you so choose.
Copyrighted.
Yeah, TM. Say it.
Right. Trademark.
Done.
See in a circle.
So my question to you is how are these things coming together for you, or any of these things starting to connect to each other immediately?
Well, so again, so this is where I have to like practice what I preach now, right? So I have to figure out what kind of audience do I want to talk to.
Okay. All right.
And what my personality and how I like to interact with people. And I like a little humor, all right? I like a little bit of more than meets the eye kind of deal, you know? And I'm not talking Transformers, I'm talking judging a book by its cover. So it's interesting. So first of all, I could see it as maybe we go through each one. So we create an interesting story. It's tinged with a little bit of unexpected humor, right? So for the demonologist, I joked earlier, but I do think it plays interesting, where it's like this character. And again, I want full representation, right? But we're not going to the physical aspects of it. But let's go with a they for this character, right?
A they, okay.
Right. So this character, a lot of self-discovery going on, right? So maybe as a demonologist, this character didn't want to be a demonologist, right? Okay. this character's parents sort of coerced or pushed, pushed them to go into this field of study when they really just wanted to dance.
You can't be a dancer. You've got to be able to put food on the table. You're going to go to demonology school. Sure.
Right. So maybe there's a
I got that same lecture.
Family, right? A proud family tradition of like, I was demonologist. You're going to be demonologist. Your grandfather and your grandmother is demonologist. So yeah, and all the siblings are demonologists, and they're just looking at this character like, oh, you bring shame to our family. So yeah, that's the demonologist part.
Here's the thing that I think is interesting. Okay, and we have a corrupt, like a master that they studied with, who turned corrupt. Okay, do you feel like they studied demonology under someone that then was turning towards like the demonic, was getting seduced in by it? Or do you think that this was like, they were studying what they wanted to study, something horrible happened that involved demons that led them to then need or want to go and become a demonologist?
So here's my thought, right? And I'm annoyingly social this way, at least maybe. So the whole family studied under this master.
Oh, get out of here. Okay.
Right. And then something about this character, maybe the resistance, maybe something, like I'm not going to go on autopilot, right? I want to do something with my life, and right, I have something to say, right? It all ties to mentoring, right? I have something to say, and I really don't want to keep saying what everybody else has been saying. So this new, I guess, I don't know, resistance to the master maybe has made the master, question themselves or something, or realize, wait a minute, why am I doing what I'm doing? There's more story to it, but that's the trigger that opens up the master to maybe like self-doubt, like, well, wait a minute, why am I working for the system? And then opens up because it's such a, you deal with demons, and that little opening allows the demons to come into the master. It's like, wait a minute, I've been like this is wrong, and then boom, too late. You know what? You don't get to change your mind. We're going to take you over now. Like you've served us for all these generations, and now this little punk is making you question yourself, and you want to quit. I don't think so. We're taking you over now.
So problem student, right?
Yeah, something like that, right? A student, but still problematic in the intention side of it.
And that created a tension that introduced doubt, was what you're saying.
Yeah, right, something like that. This is just off the top of my head.
That's what we're here for. And the doubt led to like corruption, possession.
Right. So like you think, I'm talking about the master now. You think you're working for good, right? Or you don't really question it.
Right.
Then you go to your boss, like, you know what, boss? I don't really like what I've been doing for hundreds of years, so I want to quit. And the boss is like, no, once you're part of the gang, you can't leave. And
nice. Okay.
And then they just take him over, or expose him to like badness, whatever that is. Something like that. So there's a bigger boss behind the boss, right? More boss fight.
So are you saying that you feel like the boss behind the boss,
right,
actually has more connectivity to the demonic?
Yes, something like
crazy.
That.
Okay.
Right? Because what are demons? Right? What are they? I don't know. That's why I went to school for it, but I didn't want to. Right? All that stuff. A lot of crazy conspiracy stuff. I mean, the point is to sort of like have a healthy dose of skepticism.
So suddenly
has skepticism.
It feels like that what you did a lot of things. Okay, what you've done is you've made the corrupt master into actually more of a victim than an adversary, and you've introduced this, like the uber boss, the boss behind the boss, as an antagonist. So now,
correct.
Okay, so now we have a teacher figure that has become kind of tragic,
right? Because that's corruption, right? Like outside forces,
and we've got a whole corrupt organization that is supposed to be about fighting demons, but is actually, or studying demons at least, maybe impartial to actually, about fighting them. But what you're saying is that they've actually gone the other way, and they're kind of colluding with demons
unknowingly, right? Unknowingly.
What about the big boss? Is it still unknowingly, or is he aware that there is that they
So we haven't gotten there yet. So
okay.
let's walk through the list a little bit, because
all right, because my next question is we've got to repay a debt, right? And I'm wondering if repaying the debt is about the tragic master, repaying something to the tragic master that's been turned, in terms of trying to fight the corruption within that system, to return the system to its original purpose, or to cleanse.
So I find, even with my art itself, right? I try to keep it simple, but so keep the plot simple, but then all the nuances and the internal struggles and the acting, so to speak. That you don't want to. I wouldn't want to complicate it. So I would tie all the plot structure, the drives, to the same thing. So the repaying a debt, I would tie it with the angel. So the request, repay the debt, I would somehow tie that into that storyline, right? So this dying angel, we don't know when it happens. It could be that autobiographical memory where it's like this character remembers everything except for this. Then it's like, what happened here?
Wow. Okay.
Right. So I'm trying to tie it all together. Try to keep it as simple as possible.
So you're saying that there's memory loss around the angel event?
Right. So you create this this will actually character who's just so confident that they just know and remember everything, but it's like, wait a minute, there's a psychological hole here. You know what I mean? That hides behind this confidence, right? And what traumatic experience created this hole? All right. what traumatic experience made you want to forget this so badly in a way that you convince yourself that you have to remember everything. So you made it a point to remember everything, just so you don't realize you force yourself to forget something.
Okay.
So
All right. So they've built some
stuff.
kind of like
Right.
a mental, almost like they've cordoned off a section that they are not looking at.
Right. And they don't even want to question the possibility because they're so good at remembering everything else.
Do we feel like the angel attack, all right, or the angel, I mean, so dying angel, not dead angel, you've made that, you know, you pointed out that distinction. So we've got an angel that's kind of like on the ropes, kind of at death's door. This angel attack or this angel injury, I don't know what else to call it. How do you feel like that ties into the corrupted boss?
So for now, I wouldn't tie them together yet. I would see it as I would tie the angel to the big boss.
Yeah.
Right. So the boss is just, it's like, wow, these separate story threads, but they actually meet up further down the road. Right. So the angel's dying makes the most compelling sense to me if it comes at the hands of the protagonist. Right. So the protagonist caused the angel to be dying.
The protagonist did.
Our character.
Our character did. How do you say more about it? How's that work?
So let's just say there was a gap in the memory where our protagonist does something. It's like a MacGuffin. Could be anything.
I love MacGuffins. I absolutely give me any story that says go find the thing that unlocks the thing in order to see the thing at the particular time of day. I love it. I could watch that for hours.
Yeah, but maybe not. So this is where we really got to get vulnerable.
Okay.
Right? We really got to vulnerable. Like, what is the character flaw that this character has that sent the angel down this path of dying? And the angel reappears later and says, "I'm dying." Right?
Oh, and right. So it's not really like you don't see the angel dying as an attack. It's more like a sort of almost like a chronic illness or like a
kind of
illness,
something, right? Where maybe infected with some demon spell or something.
I love it.
That's too on the nose. So it's more like
the idea of an infected angel is on the nose of nothing. I've never heard that before.
Right.
You know, like, and I would say my advice would be like, let's let that breathe before we judge it and say, oh, that's not, that's too on the nose or that's not good enough.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the point I was saying. What I'm saying is like again, I like to zag. That's what the audience of it. So there's a slow death. We all think it's because of some demon spell or some demon such, right? But it's not. It's actually from this character's ability to control dead things.
Right. Okay.
So this character didn't know that, it's a representation of wanting to be reborn. The character feels dead, right? They've been doing this. They've given their life away to something they don't want to do. So they want to be reborn, and that awakens this necromancy, this desire to figuratively be reborn is now literally making things be reborn. And something in that, before there's an angel, if we're going to go on the structure of the angel, the myth, the angels can be humans, you die, you become an angel, then maybe this pre-angel person is the dead whatever that's been messed with. Therefore, the body's no longer dead. Now the angel's dying because the angel's not actually dead anymore, right? Kind of weird interplay.
Can you say that again? It sounds amazing, but also like I'm not gripping it totally.
So we're going to go off of Judeo-Christian concepts here a little bit, or maybe not so much.
Because I didn't do nearly enough of that when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, me neither. So I could be totally wrong. So let me take that back. So let's go under the concept. This is the premise, right? In this universe, when people die, they become angels or they become demons.
Okay, right?
Yeah. Keep it simple, right? This is like issues of concepts of karma, all of that, the realism. So I have demon dogs in my house.
Mine's asleep.
So right. So what happens here? Here's the play. All right, and I feel like we should actually do this story. All right. So let's go with Beth. All right, Beth dies, becomes an angel.
Okay.
Our character knew Beth but has forgotten. Now,
Oh, okay.
okay, but here's how. But so Beth is, this is awful, but decomposed body is in the ground.
Oh,
Okay,
wow. Okay.
it's just dirt, right? We're talking Gollum stuff. But because our character somehow intertwined with Beth, our character wants to be reborn. They actually bring to life Beth's decomposed dirt essence, right?
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So weirdly, if you can bring this decomposed, we're not doing like blood and guts and bones. It's just fertilizer at this point. But so it turns into like some Gollum character. So a part of, so now it's like how can you be both an afterlife angel and still be alive as a Gollum? So
Oh, okay.
right. So
So we've got
that's
this,
the
we've got this like golem, kind of like what's another word for like a draugr or something like that? Some kind of a,
sure,
not really a
but
zombie, but like an undead manifestation, but also spiritually became an angel after death, but
correct. But the
their physical
requirement,
form is now moving around.
right. So like the admin up in heaven or wherever this world is, the admin is like, oh, I'm sorry, Beth, you're not technically dead because some dude brought you back to life.
Oh
So
my God.
so something like that,
Wow.
right?
All right.
So it's like so this is how it's gonna happen. So we've never, sometimes this happens, but sorry, we can't have you here. Right.
Okay.
So
All
the
right.
more this thing comes to life, the more the angel dies or is no longer an angel.
Wow. Okay, got it. So actually there becomes two of them. There is the angel
Or
form.
it always adds up to one, the sum of one, but
Okay.
fractionally, it's like 99% angel, 1% rise from the dead. And as that shifts,
That's wild. Okay, great. So then there is a loss of memory from our protagonist around creating this Beth Golem, right? For lack of a better word.
or something, maybe this character, this the repaying the debt part. Maybe this character caused Beth to die in the first place.
Oh, okay.
So, right? So by repaying this debt, ideally, whatever that is, and I think now that I think it can't be a makeup, it has to be like the point of the freaking story, right? There is a relationship betrayal of some sort, right? One where we read this story or it's a movie and we're like, holy crap, I do this in my relationship. All right, I'm going to kill this person and this person will never have eternal peace. but we tie it to some some betrayal as humans that we do. Okay, whatever that is, workshop that, something like that, right? Whatever that major relationship thing, we're just like, it's got to be something that everyone relates to, right? Like putting things off, right? Crap like that, or it's not glamorous, but like, man, this not glamorous thing doomed this person, right? So it's kind of something like that, right? What it is, I don't know. Let's see what the other things are on there.
Okay. So I'm trying to find out now how, if our protagonist has manifested these necromancy powers, they've brought their friend, a version of their friend, back, and that's fouling up Beth's afterlife.
Yeah.
Where is the how do we need to connect this back to the corrupt institution of demonology?
Right. So it does tie into it, right?
Okay.
And how do we do that? It's because it's again, we can't do a straight, it's got to be personified, right? So let's just say this is commentary on the patriarchy, right? I hear like half the audience click off right now.
Unsubscribe. Unsubscribe.
But you know
Unsubscribe.
right. But I don't really. So let's just say it's an allegory and a commentary on the patriarchy, right? That has to be personified. So all of these things are in service of that system, right? And maybe there's just right. So how did that happen? So Beth has died because there's this protagonist, uh, you know, killed her off somehow, didn't protect her, or didn't do something that they were supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Her original death was because of some failure on
omission of duty of some sort, which is what we do. We stand by, we let bad things happen, we don't do anything about it. So it's not like, right? I think as humans we do that. We put ourselves in situations where we don't do what we know what we could have done, especially when people are getting hurt, right? Or potentially could get hurt. Something like that. A horde of demons, whatever. Something less obvious. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whatever.
So we had the original Beth death.
Yes.
Our protagonist actually some kind of failure.
Right.
So
it's the
not
Peter
only
Parker, Ben Parker story. Right?
That absolutely. So she had something to do with the original passing of Beth, and now is monkeying with Beth's afterlife experience as well.
Right.
Again, I want to find, this is all interesting. It's really, really kind of mind-blowing and really new. But I want to find a way to give it more antagonist drive, like with some more bad guy presence. Because right now it feels a little bit like a journey of discovery, maybe a rescue journey to get Beth sorted out in some way. But
this is where
down on her.
This is where we have to be careful with this other element, right? Because this is my personal take, and mileage may vary. I really enjoyed WandaVision until Wanda starts fighting what's her face, Agatha. It was Agatha all along. Where it's just like, I love that journey she has discovering what she's doing, right? And Vision's role in it, and the kids, like all of that was just massively interesting to me. And to have a big baddie was like, oh no, right? Unless it was another personification, I would have been okay with that. So go along with those lines of guilt and repayment and all that stuff.
Okay.
Right. This is where, again, it's hard to iron this out right now, but I think I wouldn't want to make it cliche.
It's more about it's kind of more like I don't know, erector set, you know what I mean? We're just like Lego.
Right.
It's more we're sticking things on other things. The iron part comes later.
Loose threads, right. So in terms of the corrupt master, it is like it is nature versus nurture here, right?
Okay.
So I don't love stories, at least for this one. I don't feel like nature or nurture should ever be the real enemy, quote unquote. Maybe, I don't know, right? I think a lot of it comes from nature, or maybe not. I don't know. So how do we tie it together, right? This is where I'd love to see the comments. I don't have the YouTube stuff on here, but yeah. So if there are,
yeah. Oh, and you know what? Let me pull that up and just say if there's any comments that anyone wants to make about how
suggestions, right?
The suggestion box for sure,
interactive or such. But so I see it as I like the inner conflict. So we're dealing with the master. Now we have to figure out the master side story, right? So to me, this is like, it'd be too convenient to bring it together. So early on we said this is going to meet up, but maybe not so.
Well, one thing I feel like it could serve as is like the corruption of the institution. This kind of like boss behind the boss, and the corruption. There's got, and one thing that we haven't really talked a whole lot about yet is demons, right? You've got these we've got these bad guys, like a whole pantheon of them, and we're not really making use of them yet. So I feel like between demons, the boss behind the boss, the corrupt institution, all of this, there could be a larger plot at play that creates a ticking clock, a level of pressure on our protagonist to sort Beth out before this happens. She could need Beth's help to deal with, you know, this corrupt institution and the influence of the demons.
Right, right. So it goes back to the repaying the debt. So how do we repay the debt, right? So first of all, we have to figure out if the character realizes what they're doing to Beth the angel. And so I think Beth comes down and says, "Hey, you're doing this to me."
Yeah, you're fouling it all up. And,
right, what the hell's going on
but I
there?
think that there's that's such an interesting sidekick role of like, I'm halfway dead, you are messing up my afterlife, my body is like shambling around, and what's up with that? Like, WTF? What? And the whole reason I'm dead, it kind of is on you in the first place. But I think that Beth's role in solving, you know, this problem right here and this problem right here, she might need Beth, be like, Beth, I've just jerked you all over the place, but I need you for this one, you know, this one last time. It's really
right. Well, I'm also seeing maybe Beth. So I like stories where we're not the superhero, right?
Okay.
I like the stories where we're the sidekick, right? I find that to be more relatable. So Beth is the superhero.
Okay. All right. So she's basically pulling Beth in off the bench to be like, I need a bigger throwing arm in the situation.
Yeah, or Beth is like, you know, like we don't know yet, but you know, the universe being compromised because we, the protagonists, have effed up the hero, so to speak, or a major player in it. So we figured out our side of it. So in terms of the conflict, right? What are the conflicts? Internal conflict. There's nature. It's a hero versus nature, hero versus institution, hero versus all this stuff. So it's fun to tie in as many of those as possible, right? I don't have the list in front of me, but I don't, you know, to go through all that stuff. But
got it for you right here.
Yeah, right. So versus institution, I think that's again, I don't want her to be like happy, right? Because it's not relatable, right? Like right now, we're trying to find our way.
She's got a lot of stuff to be not happy about. You know, she's
exactly.
And
so I think the story, I think so. So whatever it is, we don't beat the bad guys, right? But there is a sense of hope throughout, and so it's kind of like how the Matrix ended. I think how it ended. I don't remember. I don't know.
I
definitely didn't see the last one, but it's like, you know what? Let's the victory is being aware.
I feel like, you know, that what the resolution is, I feel like isn't something we have to do right now. I feel like what we want to do is create enough juice and enough like hand and footholds to be like, now I'm going to go write the shit out of this, you know. And I feel like we're there. I think we have it. I think what we've got is she's got debts to repay. They have debts to repay all over the place. They've got a fallen master, right, who is now a little bit of a tragic figure, right? The master could be somehow, the corruption could have forced the master to be like subsumed or devoured by hell. You know, maybe they are now a full-on servant of the demons. Maybe they've had to go down and get sucked into hell. Maybe that dude needs a rescue somehow. We've also got Beth, who it just seems like one of those people who, you know, sometimes you're just like so tangled up with someone where you're just like, God, you're like a bad penny. I just cannot get untangled from you. And every time I think I'm free, like there you are again. We're just like tangled up in some other way, like you're like an octopus in my life. And it feels like our protagonist is that for this Beth character, where it's like, I just cannot kick you loose.
So what we do now is we have a buddy story,
right?
Right.
A very like a very tense
where our character, right? So our character is like a Sherlock Holmes that just remembers everything, except for important things, enough of where it's just like, oh, like it's a clever little
Yeah, it's like
device that we can
it's like
use.
one part, it's like Midnight Run meets Shutter Island, where you've got like these two
Right,
unwilling partners and a big memory gap that they're trying to figure out.
right. So this is where like being forced to go to demon school, right? Expose our character to all these experiences that are now helpful in some way or another. But it also allows our character to live the life that they wanted to live. And what is that like, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of so ultimately it's a kind of like a destiny thing. We don't really waste our life. It all comes together, right? So our character says, this sucks. I wasted my whole life doing demon studies and I just want to dance or whatever. But but they get to do what they want, but this is still useful, right? So there's a sense of like, hey, don't worry,
Yeah,
it all adds up.
they've got all these skills that they kind of didn't want that
Yeah,
now are imperative. And suddenly, like it starts to, as we're talking, it sounds like to me like, what would you say the stakes of this story are?
right. Right. So what was our journey? Oh, it was a repay, and it was repay a debt. Right? Is that what that is?
Repay
So
debt, yeah.
so we have to stick to that, right?
Yeah,
So
and there's plenty of that to go around, between like the corrupted master that has been swallowed up by evil. We've got Beth. She owes a ton of stuff too.
so the way I would do the master, and this is the most insidious character that I can think of, right? Like the headmistress from Harry Potter,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So the
Yeah.
corruption isn't like bam, now I got fangs. No, the corruption is like you don't even know,
Okay.
right? Like it's a slow, like super tense, like somebody killed this character already, right? Like that kind of a thing. So this master is again, we have to build up the cast more, right? We're
Yeah.
focused on so
But
there could
I
be
think
like
the cast is cool. I think that this like angel character, like halfway now proto angel or like deconstructing angel, whose body is also like walking around as this like shamble, who's getting pulled out of the afterlife into a detective story. That is
yeah.
fantastic. I think that is like, I haven't read that story before. That's really cool.
Yeah, or maybe yeah, maybe here's what it is. Maybe somehow through the master, what he's secretly been teaching is teaching people how to raise the dead, which therefore reduces the number of angels they have to fight. Right.
Oh, I see. So it's the sort
so
of like subtracting angels off the roster.
right,
Oh, that's
right.
so
So
like,
she's the only one who could get to our character, but there's others that are maybe, they don't, whatever their connection was here allowed her to come back, or she escaped, or whatever it was, right? Maybe he's just reluctant to bring back the dead, maybe, or our character, something like that, where there's a unique circumstance that allows her to come back, maybe a few more, but we don't know about that, right? So that's the goal. So the family, everybody who learns demonology, right? They are unwitting. They're told that you're going to learn this stuff to combat demons. Like we're the good guys,
right.
But the reality is, they're actually being given, demon thoughts and demon powers.
And in order
So
to do
realize
this like this unwitting like angel subtraction thing here, where they're like eliminating the number of angels that through the powers that they're out there using.
Right. So
wild.
Interestingly, we get to kill these golem characters because it restores the angels. Right? Some weird thing like that, where you get to have the visual thing, but it's not really killing a bad guy, right? It really is actually, we're killing makes sense, right? Like one of those rare things where like extreme violence is actually the answer, right? So something like that. We can have these, visually compelling imagery, but but you're not actually killing, you're actually restoring, right? So it's a guilt-free gore.
So ultimately, it's going to be an attempt at restoration, right?
Yes. So again, we're restoring everybody where it used to be. And
Yeah.
again, for whatever listeners we still have left,
We've
restore
got
equality and
listeners.
balance, right? Restore equality and balance.
Very good. Right
Dismantle
on.
the patriarchy, but in a very allegorical kind of way. Isn't
I
that right?
think that the quality of like the metaphysics and the detective story at the same time is really, really exciting. This relationship is super fun, and them then having to go up against this overcome the memory gap and go up against the man, so to speak. I think I love this story. I think that this is
Yeah,
wild.
thanks. Yeah, it was fun talking to you. So what we do with the master, this depends on how much we want to do. I think it makes sense to dive into the demon side now. We didn't pull those cards.
We didn't really mess around with the demons too much,
but
right?
we're not gonna. We don't. So I don't want to vilify anybody. Right? That's
Not even the demons, really. Okay.
not even the demons, right? It really is
Or
fear.
demons.
We're fighting a battle that some doofus started so long ago. The McCoys and the Hancocks. We don't need to vilify anybody. It's like, you know what? It just happened. You know what I mean? Like we're all victims here in a way. So let's just, let's figure this shit out somehow. But they don't know, right? They're
Okay.
told that they're the good guys. We're fighting people. We really don't want to. Again, so the master, sometimes you gotta kill people, right? So I don't know. I don't know how far we go with that, but I definitely don't want to make it like these are the villains, black and white, they're bad. It's like a really reluctant, like I really don't want to do this, but I really have to,
Okay.
right? Because I know. Again, it's you come across as preachy, so I don't want to do it in a way that's not preachy, but it's like I know it's like
Well,
like,
you'll find that. I mean, you got to write the story to find that out. You can't.
right.
You're not going to figure it all out right now, but we are
Right.
going to create the bones of it that you can then
Right.
go and mess with it, like get in there and actually write it.
Right. So it's like Vader, Dad, I know you're in there, like that kind of stuff. And you may not be able to reach him, and that's the tragedy. But to me, when somebody dies in the story, I want it to mean something, right? Because so every death, oh man, you made me do this. Or in the case of the angels, it's like this is restoration, this is good, right? But no, like in that case, it could be a little more frivolous, but because you just know it's a good deed. But right. So it depends how much you want to dive into it.
Your themes will rise to the surface as you actually get into the nuts and bolts of this. But I feel like we did what we came to do, right? We created a very cool character with very clear needs and a really big dilemma to solve. So
yeah, right.
I'm very psyched about that. I hope you are too. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So definitely, I'm going to save this video.
Yeah. Right on. So I also want to say thank you for everybody that hung out with us, and also anybody that comes across this after the fact. Thanks for watching. This was our first one, and we broke the seal, and I'm really excited about that. We're going to do this again next week with a paranormal romance author named El Greco. She wrote a series called the I want to say LA Rockstar series. And I'll have to check my notes and make sure I got that right. And if I didn't, I apologize, Al. But we'll talk about that next week. A couple of things I want you to know. You can still pre-order Psyche on our website, recklessdeck.com, and it should be out this fall. You can also follow Reckless Deck on Instagram at Reckless Deck. Khoi, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram.
Mm-hmm. What's your Instagram?
Instagram is Khoi Pham Art.
Perfect.
Facebook is the same, Khoi Pham Art.
Okay.
My website, I'm revamping my website, so don't go.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. I've never actually said that like in an actual live stream before.
You can't say you're gonna be like smash that like button.
Oh, okay, yeah. So smash it. Smash the like button.
Yeah, right.
Thank you guys again, and we'll do it again in a week. Khoi, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
You bet, it was a lot of fun. I had no idea what we were gonna do going in, but it was.
And next time you come on, we're gonna draw for sure. You don't.
Yeah, fun.
This was a break for you from drawing, but it's not going to last.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Right on.
We got it.
See you, man. Bye.
See you, everybody.